vengeance. But here, they do not exist. Only winners and losers here. For here, the mighty rule. Garou, Mark of the Wolves.
The year is 2006, 10 years after the crime lord Geese Howard attempted to take control of the city of Southtown, hoping to destroy all of his enemies once and for all in order to rule unopposed. However, Geese was once again defeated by his longtime rival Terry Bogard, the adopted son of his former training partner Jeff Bogard, who Geese had killed 15 years prior in 1981, the act of which kick-started the Bogards' feud against the Howard connection. After facing another defeat at the hands of Terry, Geese nearly plummeted off the roof of his tower for the second time, but was saved at the last second by Terry, who, despite everything that had transpired between the two, did not want to see Geese die. However, Geese refused Terry's attempt to save his life and knocked his hand away, allowing himself to fall from Geese Tower to his death, ending the intense Howard and Bogard rivalry for good. Following Geese's death, Terry came across a young boy he had befriended the previous year named Rock and learned that he was actually Rock Howard, the son of Geese and a woman named Marie Heinlein. With Geese's death, however, Terry soon realised that Rock was now orphaned following the death of his mother some years prior. Feeling a sense of guilt and obligation towards Rock, Terry adopted the young boy despite him being the son of a sworn enemy and raised him as the two travelled together across the country, with them growing to develop a bond with each other similar to that of a father and son. Now, 10 years later, a 17-year-old Rock has become a formidable fighter in his own right after a decade of training alongside Terry. However, Rock fights a battle within himself, as his attempts to stay on the path that Terry has inspired him to follow clashes with the internal instincts inherited from the blood of his father Geese. Though he is able to instinctively perform some of Geese's moves, Rock fights against the evil urge of his blood whenever he uses them, desperate to not fall to the same darkness that his father willingly embraced. Also changed in the last 10 years is the city of Southtown itself, having ushered in an era of peace following Geese's death, with the city now owned by its people instead of the Howard connection or any other crime syndicates. Another city that benefits from the death of Geese is Second Southtown, the neighbouring sister city of Southtown, that was once a lawless and destitute town until Geese's death inspired the people to also clean up their home in order to live in peace. However, the peaceful lives of Terry, Rock and the two Southtowns is shaken when Terry suddenly receives an invitation informing them of a new King of Fighters being held in Second Southtown, dubbed the Maximum Mayhem Tournament. The invitation personally invites Terry to once again compete as the previous tournament's winner, but it also catches the attention of Rock as it asks for Terry to bring along his companion to compete, as his fighting prowess has caught the host's attention. Though not initially sold on competing in the Maximum Mayhem tournament, Rock becomes determined to enter upon seeing that the invitation also promises an extra reward from the host should he win, information regarding Rock's mother, Marie. After discovering that the invitation was sent by the butler of the Heinlein family, the same family as his mother's, Rock and Terry agree to enter the tournament and soon make their way to Second Southtown in order to win their way to the truth regarding Rock's mother. Along with Terry and Rock, 10 other competitors enter the King of Fighters Maximum Mayhem tournament after the host opens up entries to any of those who wish to compete. This choice, along with the amount of time that has passed since the previous tournament, leads to a large number of new faces to enter the competition for the first time. After watching their father Kim Kap-hwan compete in the previous King of Fighters tournament, Kim's sons Kim Dong-hwan and Kim Jae-hoon would spend the next 10 years training under their father as the successors to his Taekwondo fighting style. Kim Dong-hwan, the elder of Kim's sons, has become an extremely cocky fighter, preferring to slack off from his training due to his proud belief that he is a natural Taekwondo master and has no need to further hone his skills. Despite Dong-hwan's attitude, however, his fighting ability more than makes up for his refusal to train, a fact that never ceases to infuriate his younger brother. Kim's youngest son, Kim Jae-hoon, however, is the polar opposite of his brother, believing in his father's strong sense of justice and methods towards mastering Taekwondo wholeheartedly, leading to Jae-hoon sharing his father's serious personality and often clashing with his brother's lazy attitude, with Jae-hoon feeling that Dong-hwan's laziness and dismissal of their father's teachings dishonours their family. With Kim Kap-hwan now retired from competing in fighting tournaments, Dong-hwan and Jae-hoon decide to enter the upcoming King of Fighters tournament in his stead in order to continue their father's legacy. Both sons hope to win the tournaments using their own personal methodology, vowing to hold nothing back should they meet in the tournament. The daughter of a wealthy English family, Jenny Byrne gave up her nobility after becoming bored of her life of luxury. Desiring a fresh start, Jenny ran away from home to form her own band of treasure-seeking pirates, which they collectively dubbed the Lillian Knights. Dedicated to their new life of only ever robbing from the rich, Jenny uses her family's money to build a pirate ship for her and her crew to sail across the seas on. Now going by B. Jenny, Jenny and the Lillian Knights decide to enter the upcoming Maximum Mayhem tournament after hearing that the tournament's host belongs to the wealthy Heinlein family. While appearing to be a normal competitor, Jenny in truth has no desire to win the competition itself, instead intending for her and the Knights to rob the Heinlein family of their valuables during the chaos of the tournament. Once an undefeated professional wrestler loved and adored by his many fans the world over, the mighty T-Zock's world came crashing down when he was challenged and utterly defeated by a mysterious man, to the shock of himself and his fans. Devastated by the loss and with his passion and pride destroyed, T-Zock spent 2 years searching for the man who defeated him in order to gain his revenge, but to no avail, and eventually began to see himself as a washed-up has-been. When the King of Fighters Maximum Mayhem tournament is announced, however, T-Zock decides to enter in hopes that he can potentially find the man who defeated him and regain the passion he once had. Once a student of the legendary fighter Ryo Sakazaki, Marco Rodriguez continued to honour his master even after earning his black belt, eventually opening his own Kyokugen Ryu karate dojo in his native home of Brazil in order to further hone his skills and spread the style of his beloved master. Upon hearing of the upcoming Maximum Mayhem tournament, Marco decides to enter in order to test the results of his training, as well as further prove the might of Kyokugen Ryu to the world, and makes his way to 2nd Southtown in order to compete. Hotaru Futaba is a young girl trained in the lighter side of Chinese Kempo by her father due to her kind nature and dislike of violence. Despite being trained intensely by her father, Hotaru adored her family thanks to the love shown to her by her kind mother and protective older brother. However, Hotaru's life would be shattered when she returned home one day to find her mother's corpse in their family dojo and her father and brother nowhere to be seen, with no clue left behind as to what had happened to ruin their once peaceful family. Determined to find her brother in order to uncover the truth behind their mother's death, Hotaru spends the next 6 years training vigorously as a means of gaining the strength needed to draw herself and her brother together, believing that their familial bond and power will attract his attention. Upon hearing a rumour that her brother is taking part in the upcoming King of Fighters tournament, Hotaru decides to compete as well in the hopes of finally meeting him again, and along with her brother's pet Martin Itokatsu, makes her way to 2nd Southtown in order to do so. After the death of Geese Howard, Terry's younger brother Andy Bogard returned to Japan in order to help Mai Shiranui continue to grow the Shiranui ninjutsu style. Sometime after, Andy met a young boy named Hokumaru and decided to train him as his apprentice in the style of both Shiranui Ryu and Kapoken. After many years together and with his training almost complete, Andy hears word of the upcoming King of Fighters Maximum Mayhem tournament and, instead of competing himself, decides to send the now 14-year-old Hokumaru to 2nd Southtown in order to enter the competition. Despite having never left his home in the remote mountain forests of Japan, Hokumaru eagerly sets off towards the hustle and bustle of the modern world in order to do his master proud and win the tournament. Since he was a young boy, the martial artist Gato trained under his father Gao until the fateful day when his father killed his mother, for reasons that still remain unclear to Gato. As a result of his father's betrayal against their family, Gato swore an oath of vengeance to hunt down and kill his father, abandoning everything he had once loved and cherished in his life in order to gain the strength needed to carry out his revenge. Upon the announcement of the King of Fighters Maximum Mayhem tournament, Gato decides to enter as a means of further gaining the strength needed to one day kill his father and avenge his mother's murder, while also hoping that their paths may cross during the competition. As a proud police officer in 2nd Southtown SWAT Division and a distant relative of the private investigator Blue Mary, Kevin Ryan is dedicated to protecting his home and its people from crime, but he is shocked when his partner and best friend is found murdered in an alley. However, the only details that Kevin can find are a sighting of his partner's killer, with a witness describing a long-haired man as the one who took his life, as well as the fact that his partner was investigating the random killing spree of a fighter in the city at the time of his death. Deducing that his partner's murderer and the serial killer plaguing the city are one and the same, Kevin becomes determined to hunt down the murderer and make sure he faces justice for his crimes. Feeling a duty to honour his friend and protect his loved ones, however, Kevin also decides to take care of his deceased partner's son Marky, and brings him along in his investigation in order to look after him, with the two soon becoming fast friends and partners in their own right. After finding out about the Maximum Mayhem tournament, Kevin decides to enter with Marky at his side, feeling that the killer will show up at some point during the competition, allowing Kevin to defeat him and both avenge the death of Marky's father as well as bring the serial killer's reign of terror to an end. Unbeknownst to Kevin, the serial killer that he seeks is named Freeman, a mysterious young British man who thrived on brutal street fights in the slums of England, a childhood that soon led to him carving a bloody path of carnage wherever he went, with no one able to stop him. Eventually, Freeman moved to 2nd Southtown where he once again began his crime spree, seeking opponents to defeat and kill, eventually taking the lives of many people, including Kevin's partner and Marky's father. Freeman soon hears of the King of Fighters tournament being held in 2nd Southtown and decides to enter, hoping to find a new batch of strong opponents for him to defeat and brutally kill in order to fuel his never-ending bloodlust. With all the competitors gathered, the King of Fighters Maximum Mayhem tournament finally kicks off, with all the entrants clashing against each other as they make their way to the finals. Kim Dong-hwan meets with Kim Jae-hoon at the Yokchang market where the many students of their father gather to watch the two brothers clash. Dong-hwan praises his younger brother for making it this far into the tournament, but Jae-hoon simply credits his determination to focus on his training as the reason for his success in the competition, which is something that his older brother still refuses to do, much to Jae-hoon's annoyance. Dong-hwan maintains his belief in not having any need to train, claiming that he still wins his fights without needing to practice. Dong-hwan chooses to end their sibling spat by finally challenging Jae-hoon to a fight. The two then clash in battle, with Dong-hwan eventually managing to defeat his younger brother. Dong-hwan smugly gloats in his victory, telling Jae-hoon that his choice to not bother with training is once again proven to be the correct one. An irritated Jae-hoon accepts that Dong-hwan is the better fighter, but warns his brother to not underestimate the other competitors in the tournament before parting ways with him. At the 2nd Southtown police manoeuvring field, Kevin and Marky are met by none other than Freeman himself, with Kevin recognising him as the one connected to his partner's death. Freeman happily confirms his hand in the murder of Marky's father, which infuriates Kevin, who tells Marky to watch and see for himself what vengeance looks like. Freeman and Kevin then clash in battle, but Freeman proves to be too strong for Kevin to handle and defeats him. While Kevin laments his weakness in not being able to avenge his partner's death, Freeman decides to spare Kevin for now, promising to kill him some other day before fleeing, leaving Kevin to vow to one day stop Freeman once and for all. Marco Rodriguez confronts T-Zoc in the Universal Arena, surprised at his bird-like wrestling persona. After sharing friendly jabs at each other, the two fighters clash in battle with Marco managing to gain the victory over T-Zoc. Marco praises his opponent's strength, but the depressed T-Zoc is only able to lament his once heroic days as a popular wrestler before passing out from his injuries, leaving Marco to continue on in the tournament. As she makes her way through the slums of 2nd Southtown, B. Jenny and her Lillian Knights come face to face with the crazed serial killer Freeman. Taking Freeman's threats to slaughter her as an insult, Jenny decides to challenge him to a fight, which she wins. Though Jenny is surprised at her victory, Freeman compliments her on her fighting ability, having not expected her to beat him. Jenny promises to charge Freeman for the dress she destroyed in the fight before quickly leaving with the Lillian Knights, having become uncomfortable with Freeman's disturbed demeanour, and continues on in the tournament. As Kevin and Marky continue their hunt for Freeman, they encounter none other than Terry Bogard, who has split off from Rock while they compete in the tournament. Thanks to him still being frustrated at having let Freeman slip out of his fingers, Kevin impulsively mistakes Terry for Freeman thanks to his long hair. After Kevin questions him as to why he killed Marky's father, a shocked Terry denies having killed anyone, but Kevin refuses to believe him and promises to defeat Terry in order to get him to reveal his secrets. The two then fight, with Kevin's anger helping him manage to defeat Terry in battle. Upon defeating Terry, however, Kevin realizes his mistake after recognizing the famous moves that Terry had used to save Southtown with multiple times in the past. Kevin quickly apologizes to Terry for his mistake, blaming his tendency to jump to conclusions as the reason for his sudden assault on him. Terry accepts Kevin's apology but asks him where Marky is, making Kevin realize that his partner has wandered off on his own, leaving him with no choice but to quickly say goodbye to Terry before chasing after him. Hokutomaru makes his way to the Blue Wave Harbour where he runs into Bee Jenny and her Lillian Knights. Enamoured by Hokutomaru's boyish charm, Jenny fawns over him and offers the young ninja some candy, much to his annoyance. Fed up with Jenny's treatment of him, Hokutomaru tells her he's a gentleman of Japan and demands she treat him with respect and not as a child. The two then fight, with Hokutomaru managing to defeat Bee Jenny. Upon his victory, Hokutomaru gloats over Jenny, asking her what she thinks of his fearful abilities. Jenny, however, cries over Hokutomaru hitting her, calling him a nasty boy and a beast. Jenny's comments make Hokutomaru feel bad and he apologizes, but Jenny reveals that she was only faking her tears. Sick of Jenny's antics, Hokutomaru tells her to give him a break before quickly leaving, continuing his journey across 2nd Southtown. As they make their way through the tournament, Hotaru and Gato encounter each other. Hotaru is immediately convinced upon seeing Gato that he is her missing older brother, something that Gato is quick to deny as he claims to not know Hotaru. Hotaru accuses Gato of lying and insists that he is her brother. Tired of Hotaru's incessant questions, Gato challenges her to a fight, to which she accepts. As they get ready, however, Itokatsu flees from Hotaru's arms and runs over to Gato's feet, seeming to recognize him, but ultimately runs away. The two then fight, with Hotaru able to defeat Gato with relative ease. Convinced that her brother would not be defeated so easily, a dismayed Hotaru finally accepts that Gato is not her brother and goes to leave, but soon realizes that Gato is not hurt at all after their bout, having actually thrown the fight in order to allow her to win. Now convinced more than ever that he is her brother, Hotaru chases after Gato and once again confronts him. Gato tries to make Hotaru go away, but she instead questions him on what happened the night of their mother's death, when Gato and their father vanished. Gato angrily tries to escape Hotaru's questioning, but she slaps Gato across the face and calls him a jerk for his cold attitude towards her, saying that despite what happened that day, they are still a family. Gato smiles and makes a comment under his breath, saying that Hotaru is the same as always. Hotaru asks Gato to repeat himself, but he instead tells her that now isn't the time or place to talk and walks away, promising to Hotaru that today won't be the day he kills their father. Hotaru calls after Gato, but to no avail as he leaves. Left alone and with no other choice, Hotaru prays that someday their family will be reunited. As the tournament reaches the semi-finals, only two competitors remain, Terry Bogard and Rock Howard. The two meet on a freight train travelling around 2nd Southtown as Rock and Terry acknowledge that Rock's victory here will lead him towards the truth of his lineage. Rock promises to hold nothing back against Terry, who tells him to show him everything he's got. The two fighters then clash, the young cub versus the legendary wolf. Due to their intimate knowledge of each other's fighting ability thanks to their decades spent together, the match between Rock and Terry is close, but Rock is able to gain the upper hand and defeats Terry. Upon his victory, Rock accuses Terry of holding back despite promising not to, but Terry insists that he gave the fighters all and that Rock won fair and square. Satisfied that his victory was legitimate, an eager Rock makes his way to the tournament's finals, but Terry tells him to watch out as he smells a rat involved in the competition. After leaving Terry behind, Rock makes his way to the Heinlein estate where he enters the palace through the basement into a hidden training ground. Rock announces to what appears to be an empty room that he has no desire to fight in the finals of the tournament as he only seeks information regarding his mother, and tells whoever is watching him to show themselves. Upon his challenge, a mysterious voice in the basement likens Rock to a scared dog, telling him that he is too weak to fight back. Rock once again demands that the tournament's host reveals himself, to which they do, introducing themselves as Grant. Grant then challenges Rock to a match, to which he accepts. The two then fight, but despite Grant's immense strength and use of dark karate, Rock is able to defeat him. Upon his defeat, Grant wonders if Rock's power is that of Geese's, the power of evil. Rock ignores Grant and demands to know about his mother, but Grant instead tells him to ask someone called Kain before dropping to his knees, allowing Rock to continue into the Dark Palace above them. After defeating Grant, Rock enters the Dark Palace proper and is met by the true host of the King of Fighters Maximum Mayhem tournament, Kain R. Heinlein, the leader of the criminal gang that currently rules over 2nd Southtown. Kain is surprised at Grant's loss, making him wonder if blood does reveal all. Rock confronts Kain and questions him as to why he called him to his palace. Kain formally introduces himself and tells Rock that he has been waiting for him ever since he took over 2nd Southtown, having done so on the wishes of Geese Howard himself. Rock suddenly notices that behind Kain is a large portrait of his mother Marie, who Kain reveals was actually his older sister, making him Rock's uncle. Kain also reveals that after the deaths of his sister and brother-in-law, he took over the space left by Geese's criminal empire for himself. As the rightful heir of Geese's criminal empire, Kain asks Rock to join him and help control 2nd Southtown. Rock refuses, however, preferring to not be tied down, not even by his last living relative. Left with no other choice, Kain challenges Rock to a fight in one final desperate move to convince his nephew to join him. Rock and Kain then clash against each other in the finals of the King of Fighters Maximum Mayhem tournament. Though Kain is able to use his own strong brand of power, the combined legacy of Terry and Geese allows Rock to gain the upper hand and defeat his uncle. Despite his loss, however, Kain makes one last attempt to defeat his nephew, but to no avail, making Rock the winner of the tournament. Following Kain's defeat, Rock confronts him and demands to know why he used his mother as a way to lure him out, questioning if Kain is really his mother's younger brother. Kain then reveals that he did everything for the legacy of Geese Howard, as after Geese's death, his last will and testament was found, but no one could decipher its true message. Rock then angrily grabs Kain, asking him if he really thought he'd understand his plight, as both his and Geese's criminal ways mean nothing to him. Rock tells Kain to find someone else to help him and goes to leave, but Kain stops Rock in his tracks by revealing a shocking truth. Rock's mother Marie is still alive. Meanwhile, Terry still continues to worry about Rock facing any danger on his own, and follows him to the Dark Palace. After entering the training grounds underneath the palace, Terry is met by Grant, who challenges him to a fight, telling the Hungry Wolf that his peak as a legendary fighter has passed. Terry dismisses Grant's claim, telling him to stop hiding if he wants to convince him of anything. Upon this, Grant steps out of the shadows and introduces himself before asking Terry to show him all of his power. Terry then takes on Grant and is able to defeat him. Grant is stunned at Terry's power and endurance, asking him if he ever doesn't give it his all. Terry tells Grant that his enemy's refusal to leave him alone prevents him from taking it easy, a sentiment that Grant sympathises with before collapsing to the ground, bidding farewell to both the legendary Hungry Wolf and Kain. After defeating Grant, Terry makes his way up to the Dark Palace in search of Rock. Upon being met by Kain, however, Terry angrily asks him where Rock is, but is shocked when he sees Rock standing by Kain as his new ally. Terry demands to know what's going on, but Rock simply asks Terry to not talk him out of his choice to ally himself with Kain, promising to return to Southtown once his affairs are settled. Having faith in Rock to not fall down the same path as Geese, Terry lets him go with Kain, telling Rock that he believes in him no matter what he chooses to do. Terry then leaves Rock, Kain and the Dark Palace behind while a solemn Rock asks Terry to forgive him. With Terry gone, Kain asks his new partner what their next move is and awaits his answer. Sometime after Rock's clash with Kain, B. Jenny sneaks into the Heinlein estate in order to steal any of the treasure hidden in the mansion. Though Jenny is creeped out by the dark decor of the hidden training grounds, she persists through them in the hope of finding treasure. She is suddenly met by Grant, however, who remains in the caverns after his loss to Terry. Grant admits that Jenny is crafty for having managed to sneak into his lair, but tells her to leave as she is too weak to survive here. Assuming Grant is the organizer of the tournament, Jenny demands money from him, but Grant instead reveals himself from the shadows and challenges Jenny to a fight, seeking to punish her for her avarice. The two then clash in battle, with Jenny being able to defeat Grant. Shocked at Jenny's fighting ability, Grant allows Jenny to continue into the mansion, leaving him to once again collapse to the ground, but this time with his mask shattering into hundreds of pieces as he once again bids goodbye to Kain, this time possibly for good. Disturbed by her encounter with Grant but with a promise of treasure within her grasp, Jenny and the Lillian Knights continue on into the palace proper in search of the Heinlein family's valuables. However, still bothered by Grant's final words, Jenny decides to meet the man named Kain herself and separates off from the Knights in order to do so. After finding him, however, Jenny is caught off guard when it appears that Kain has been waiting for her. After Jenny confronts him, Kain defends himself against her accusations that he is nothing more than a low-down criminal. After Jenny questions his claim that money is simply a means to his end, Kain decides to reveal to her his true past. Having grown up in the poverty-stricken slums of Second Southtown with his sister Marie, Kain was ultimately left on his own when Geese swooped Marie off her feet and took her back to Southtown to marry her. With only an old friend in Abel Cameron to help look after him, Kain and Abel would grow determined to fight their way out of poverty after witnessing the brutal death of a child in the street. After using his strength and smarts to work his way up a local crime family, Kain, with the help of Abel, having now donned a mask and identifying himself as Grant thanks to his newfound obsession with the occult, soon took over crime as a whole in Second Southtown, with Grant killing any who dared threaten Kain. Together with Grant, Kain would stand atop Second Southtown with no one able to stop him thanks to the protection of Grant, though a bullet wound to the heart received after saving Kain from an assassination attempt would slow him down considerably, leading to him treating every day and fight as his last. Upon hearing of the deaths of his sister and Geese, Kain began to believe that the people of Second Southtown were wasting their days living a life of no value. Feeling that the people will only truly know how to live their lives while under constant threat, Kain intends to secede Second Southtown from the United States of America, making it a lawless land. After hearing his plan, Jenny is left in disbelief at the lengths Kain will go to in order to fulfill his vision. Kain offers to show Jenny how serious his plans are by taking her on in a fight. The two clash in battle, with Jenny managing to come away as the victor. Following their fight, Jenny tells Kain that he's too analytical and should look at life more positively. Kain praises Jenny's outlook on life, calling her a fine woman despite appearing to come across as absent-minded. With Kain defeated and having found no treasure on him, Jenny is forced to leave him in order to reunite with her knights and make away with their loot. Sometime after his confrontation with B. Jenny, Kain is met by Kim Jae-hoon, who has snuck away from his brother in order to face him, with the strong sense of justice inherited from his father having convinced him to seek him out. Jae-hoon demands to know what Kain is plotting, having become suspicious of his true intentions for organising the tournament. Kain gladly reveals his plans to the disturbed Jae-hoon, challenging him to a fight in order to explain firsthand what he intends for the people of Second Southtown. Kim Jae-hoon and Kain then fight, with Jae-hoon managing to defeat him. Kain is dumbfounded at his back-to-back losses, but Jae-hoon states that his reason for losing to him was that he is simply wrong in what he believes in. Kain questions Jae-hoon's direct viewpoint, asking him if his beliefs are correct themselves, a question that confuses the young fighter deeply. Kain offers Jae-hoon one last thing before he leaves, telling him that justice is something that can be easily twisted. Sometime after Kim Jae-hoon leaves the palace, Kain finds himself confronted yet again, this time by Gato, who's interested in facing Kain and discovering for himself what his plans are. Kain tries to defend his actions as being entirely legal, but Gato rejects the notion, calling Kain's plot to secede Second Southtown as nothing more than survival of the fittest. Kain agrees with Gato's summary of his plan and offers to show him it firsthand by challenging him to a fight. Kain and Gato clash in battle, but Gato's years of hard training allow him to gain the victory over the crime lord. Kain acknowledges Gato as the victor and tells him to finish him off, but before Gato can, he is suddenly attacked by a mysterious man. Blinded as a result of the attack, Gato is mocked by the mysterious man for always being the loser when facing against him as he rescues Kain from the now crumbling palace. As they flee, Kain asks the mysterious man why he saved him, to which the man simply tells him that his death would be a waste. Gato tries desperately to chase after Kain and the mysterious man as rubble falls on him. Before he vanishes, the mysterious man calls out to Gato one last time, telling him that he better start training should he wish to beat him. Gato shouts out for the man to wait, having finally accepted what he knew all along. The mysterious man was none other than his father, Gao. As he breaks free from the ruins of the Heinlein Palace, the now blind Gato realises that Kain and his father's presence are gone entirely. Accepting that his father's critiques of him were true, Gato declares that he will no longer let himself be held back by his once trusting nature, vowing to make his father pay once and for all. Following the collapse of the Heinlein estate, the competitors are left with no other choice but to accept that the King of Fighters Maximum Mayhem tournament is over with, and that they must now go back to their normal lives. Having followed Marky's trail to the Dark Palace with the help of Terry, Kevin Ryan makes it just in time to witness its collapse. Kevin is horrified to see the ruins of the Heinlein estate, having assumed that Marky entered the mansion prior to its destruction. Kevin tries to desperately search the crumbling palace in search of Marky, but is held back by Terry, who tells him that he'll face certain death if he enters now. As the two look on at the remains of the palace in disbelief, Kevin mourns the loss of Marky, lamenting that he was supposed to be his partner and work with Kevin to avenge his father. As Kevin despairs at Marky's apparent death, Terry looks around them and sees something that makes him laugh. Kevin becomes incensed at what he perceives to be Terry's callous reaction to Marky's death and grabs him, demanding that Terry tells him what it is he finds funny. Terry tells Kevin to look behind him, having found Marky sleeping in a tree nearby. Kevin immediately runs over to Marky in order to hug him, relieved that he did not perish in the palace's destruction as he had feared. Now awake as a result of Kevin's embrace, a confused Marky asks his partner what's wrong as Terry looks on at the chaotic reunion in shock. B. Jenny wakes up to the Lillian Knights standing over her, concerned about her well-being after they were caught in the destruction of the palace before they could escape with their loot. A confused Jenny asks where she is, having come to on the cliffs surrounding the palace, as the Knights explain that they would have all perished had they not saved her and fled from Kain's estate when they had the chance. Jenny asks the Knights if there was someone else with her when they rescued her, having sensed the presence of a mysterious stranger before she passed out, but they insist that she was the only one left when they found her. Jenny then asks the Knights where the treasure they were tasked with retrieving is, but the Knights fearfully tell her that they left it behind while trying to rescue her from the palace. A furious Jenny chases off the Knights, livid that they had failed to complete the one task she had entered the tournament for. As the Knights flee from her in terror, Jenny looks back at the crumbling Heinlein Palace, Grant's words and Kain's disturbing plot weighing heavily on her mind. Having left the palace before its destruction, Kim Jae-hoon meets with his older brother Kim Dong-hwan and tells him about his encounter with Kain. While Dong-hwan dismisses Kain's words as the ramblings of a listless freak, Jae-hoon still reflects over them. Having taken Kain's warnings about justice to heart, Jae-hoon admits that he has lost faith in his ability to accurately judge people, as well as the sense of justice their father had instilled in them. While Jae-hoon is lost deep in his own thoughts and doubts, Dong-hwan snaps him out of his trance as he leaves, telling his brother to get his head out of the clouds. Jae-hoon chases after his brother while apologising for not listening to him, as Dong-hwan calls him hopeless while walking away. As they leave, and with his mind clear thanks to his brother, Jae-hoon thinks back on their father's teachings and finally understands their meaning, his faith in himself and his father's sense of justice having been restored. After the two brothers leave the site of the destroyed palace, Jae-hoon notices that Dong-hwan has fallen asleep in the middle of the woods. After failing to wake him up, Jae-hoon is left with no other choice but to carry his sleeping brother on his back as they walk home. While he walks, Jae-hoon talks to himself about Dong-hwan's cool nature, with him being impressed at how the events of the tournament haven't even fazed him. Despite admiring his brother, however, Jae-hoon also admits that he is his rival and hopes to one day surpass him as a fighter. As Dong-hwan still sleeps, Jae-hoon takes his chance to mockingly insult his brother, calling him a lazy loser hothead. However, to Jae-hoon's surprise, Dong-hwan reveals that he's been awake some time and confronts his brother on his comments. Dong-hwan angrily denies Jae-hoon as his rival and chases after his brother, with Jae-hoon trying to defend his comments as a joke, but to no avail as the two begin a long chase back home. Hokuto-maru manages to escape to the cliffs surrounding the Dark Palace after having been nearby while it collapsed. Exhausted after having made his quick escape, Hokuto-maru decides to head back home to the mountains in order to return to his master Andy. However, unbeknownst to Hokuto-maru, Andy spies on his people from the trees nearby. Having secretly been watching Hokuto-maru's journey across the tournament, an impressed Andy praises his student for having grown stronger after facing many hardships throughout the competition. Declaring that Hokuto-maru is now a master of the Shirinui ninja arts, a proud Andy decides to no longer see Hokuto-maru as his pupil but as his rival, telling him that nothing would make him happier than to see Hokuto-maru surpass him as a fighter. Having wrote these feelings in a letter before leaving to continue his own journey, Hokuto-maru returns to find his home empty except for Andy's letter and reads it, with his former master wishing for his new rival to take care of himself until they meet again. Marco Rodriguez returns home from the competition, pleased with both his performance in the tournament and opportunity to meet his old master Ryo Sakazaki. As he nears his dojo, however, Marco is shocked when he sees that their dojo's billboard is missing and rushes inside to ask his students what's going on. However, Marco is stunned when he sees that the dojo is completely abandoned. One of Marco's students then arrives to tell him that the dojo has been closed since he left to take part in the tournament and Ryo left to train in the mountains. With both Ryo and Marco gone, a fighter known as the Gym Buster arrived and beat the remaining dojo's fighters before taking their billboard as a trophy. With their reputation tarnished, the remaining students quit the dojo, and the dojo and Marco are now bankrupt as a result. Incensed at the fall of the dojo, Marco takes the students with him on his journey of revenge against the Gym Buster, vowing on his name to regain their billboard and restore their dojo's honour. After exiting the tournament, Freeman stands atop a house as he basks in the glow of the moonlight. However, a team of police snipers set their sights on Freeman, having discovered that he is a serial killer terrorising the city. With their shot on Freeman lined up, a police inspector gives the go-ahead for them to take him down, determined to kill Freeman to avenge the police officers he murdered. Freeman is then shot by the snipers and falls into a nearby river, but search and rescue teams are unable to find him, with the diver telling the police inspector that they can't find any trace of Freeman in the water. The police inspector refuses to believe that Freeman managed to get away and demands that the divers keep looking for him. As the divers and police boats resume their search, the police inspector is stunned at Freeman's apparent survival and wonders where he could have possibly escaped to, afraid that their failure to stop him will lead to Freeman continuing his killing spree. After losing in the tournament, T-Zoc laments the fact that he will never be able to return to his former glory days as one of the most popular wrestlers in the world. Deciding to hang his mask up for good rather than damage his reputation any further, T-Zoc declares that he is a hero no longer and now just a normal member of society. Before he can discard his mask, however, T-Zoc hears an injured child tell their concerned parent that his attempt at walking on crutches is nothing compared to the actions of T-Zoc, with the boy telling his mother that T-Zoc is his hero. Overwhelmed and inspired by the boy's words, T-Zoc decides to keep his mask, believing it to be an extension of himself. Declaring that as long as he has a single fan he will still be T-Zoc, T-Zoc dons his mask once again and vows that no matter the occasion or who he fights, he will always keep wrestling. On the streets of Second Southtown, word begins to spread around the city about the possibility of their home declaring independence from the USA. Terry overhears both the people's concerns and disregarding of Kain's plan as he recalls Rock's attempts to rationalize Kain's intentions to him. After hearing two women dismiss the magnitude of independence in favor of buying more jewelry, Terry thinks of Kain's claim that the people of today aren't alive and are simply going about their lives aimlessly. Terry takes a moment to think over his conflicted feelings, having grown to love Second Southtown as much as he loves Southtown itself, but begins to perhaps feel that Kain might be right about its people. However, Terry is interrupted by a group of children playing basketball as they excitedly rush over to meet the legendary Hungry Wolf. Inspired by the children's passion, Terry finally makes up his mind that Kain's perception of the people of Second Southtown as well as his plans for independence is wrong, knowing that as long as the people have heart, they will be okay. Knowing that Rock will be okay as well, Terry agrees to the children's offer to play basketball with them, excited to interact with the people he has grown to love and the people that have grown to love him.
We await your return, warrior.